Hi, everyone, and welcome to our 11th episode. I'm your host, Darius,
And I'm Jasmine.
and in this podcast, we're going to be talking about a little bit of everything
From our lives to relationships and pop culture,
to music, movies, sports, and politics.
and whatever else sparks our interest. So, welcome to the We're Just Saying podcast. All right, babe. So, how's your week going or weekend? Like, give us an update.
My last week is actually pretty good. Got to go downtown and explore while working. So that was
For
actually
McDonald's?
Hmm?
Don't you work for McDonald's?
Yeah.
You downtown now
Yeah.
at McDonald's?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Thought you didn't want people to know that.
No,
Okay.
I'm working at the McDonald's at the Union Station. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, so I got to explore that, especially with the weather being nice, even though our weather is a little bit bipolar, where
Tell me about it.
we're 90 and we got some 50-degree days coming up. So looking forward to that. But yeah, overall, what did we do? Yesterday we went to a bridal shower.
A wedding shower, I really would call it, because I kept thinking, I'm like, it's not really a bridal shower because it was the bride to be and groom to be.
Yeah.
So a wedding shower.
So yeah, it was good to be there, catch up with some friends, and then just see what all of them got going on. And yeah, that's pretty much it. This week, today I think we're both kind of dealing with some headaches.
Yeah.
So today, I think I passed out again.
Oh, lucky you.
Yeah, I went out for a little bit just to try to enjoy some of the weather, and then I was like, I need to go lay down. And so I came back home and took me a little nap, which
I'm
is
jealous.
very rare. It's very rare I take a nap. Something's got to be wrong if I'm taking a nap. So,
Yeah.
how about you, love?
It's been a long week. I have a lot of stuff going on at work. Like last week was kind of crazy. I'm dealing with some HR personnel stuff with one of my employees. And then I had issues today with somebody calling off. So that was kind of chaotic. Trying to get the salon open on time, which it didn't happen. Then yeah, the weekend was busy. I feel like, I don't know if I said it in our last check-in, but I feel like May hit and it's like every single weekend I have something to do. May, June, and I feel like up until like the second. No, actually, I think all of July too, because it's birthday celebrations in both months. So yeah, not looking forward to that because it seems a little overwhelming right now. But I feel like I'll find some time in there to rest. But I feel like I was on the go all weekend. Like Friday, woke up early, was supposed to go to the gym, decided to skip that, and then clean the house, which was productive. It felt good. And then yesterday.
Oh, we took our pictures.
Oh yeah, and then we did our engagement pictures Friday night, and then worked yesterday. Then we did the wedding shower yesterday. Then I went to get up early, and then went to the baby shower today for a family member, and then my son had his spring concert today. So busy day. I'm tired. I feel like I did not sleep because I started getting woken up by text messages at 5 o'clock this morning. So I was fighting for my life at the spring concert, trying not to fall asleep. Yeah. So here we are at 9 o'clock at night recording for the podcast. But hopefully I'll get some rest on Tuesday or something.
Damn, not even tonight.
I mean, I'll get sleep tonight, but I still gotta get up early. So Tuesday I'm off early so I can come home and take a nap. So, yeah. That's it. Looking forward to the week, and Memorial Day's coming up soon. End of the school year for everybody's coming up soon. So we good. Beyonce was in Chicago this weekend, so she brought us a thunderstorm Friday night. And the dust storm, the thunderstorm was Thursday night, and the dust storm was Friday. And then I guess people were fighting at the concert last night. So just a little ghetto all around.
Close to the front row. Like Beyonce could have stopped and looked down.
Really embarrassing, but it is what it is.
Sure,
I wish I could have got to see her, but not in my budget for this year with vacations and wedding planning and everything like that. So maybe another time.
You'll see Blue Ivy.
Huh?
We'll get you to see Blue Ivy.
No, I'll see Beyonce in concert, but it's just it wasn't gonna happen this year. I started to buy tickets. I really did. I really thought about it, but I was just like, I would have had to go Friday night, or I would have had to go last night, and I just felt like going Friday night and then having to get up to go to work Saturday morning, especially since the concert. No, the concert got delayed Thursday night. They didn't get out of there till like 1 o'clock in the morning or something like that. But I feel like I would have been too tired Saturday. I mean, we had so much stuff going on this weekend. It was just too hectic. So, or maybe I'll catch her in another city.
There you go. Kansas City.
I didn't say Kansas City. I just said another city.
I just threw a city out there. I don't even know if she's going to Kansas.
I almost went to go see her last year in Kansas City. Remember?
Oh, maybe that's where I got.
I wanted to go, and then my mama was mad, or she kind of got on me because she didn't want me to vacation by myself. She didn't want me to travel somewhere by myself. All right, so let's get into our main topic. All right, so we're gonna start with our first topic. We'll keep it cute and short because news is still coming in on it, but I just kind of wanted to put my opinion out there and see what yours is about DDG and Halle Bailey and their whole.
Haley. Ain't it Haley? No, Halle.
Please don't correct me.
My bad.
Because I know what I'm talking about.
I jumped out there too, didn't I?
Loud and wrong.
I just jumped in traffic. Jumped into traffic. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Continue.
Okay, little DDG. DDG and Halle Bailey custody issues right now. So we can give a quick summary real quick. So pretty much people found like the court record showing that Halle Bailey filed for sole legal and physical custody of Halo and wanted to take Halo out of the country while she films a movie. I think it was in like France or something like that.
Oh, okay.
I can't remember the country that it's in. And she also filed for a restraining order against DDG to keep him away from her for a certain amount of time and to keep him away from the baby, I believe, too, if I'm not mistaken. So, of course, the internet has a lot to say. How do you feel about it, babe?
I need more information before I form an opinion.
That's crazy.
No,
go ahead.
I do. I would need more information. I know that I'm inclined to believe her. I do. I don't want to discount that. I don't want to discount her. I just need more information before I jump out the gate and truly form an opinion.
So you don't think that the judges had enough information for you to then be like, okay, because the judge agreed with her, then
just because I believe they filed in California, and I know like with some of the things in California, if you can really just show a picture of you having a bruise and say this person gave it to me, they can give you a restraining order just based off of that. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So it's fairly easy to get a restraining order in there. So like I said, I'm not saying that that's the case. Most likely there was stuff going on behind the scenes, which is why like I feel like so many people out there in comment world are like they jumping behind like, oh, he's a good dad. Like you have no idea what happens when that camera turn off. You know what I mean?
Right.
So but for me, I would want to hear more when they're actually in court. Mm-hmm. And then I can start to form my opinion. But right now I like to just read people's comments and be like, y'all crazy.
Yeah.
What about you, babe?
So I'm going to believe her. And the reason why is because I'm a true crime podcast listener. And one of my favorite podcasts I listen to is called Crime Weekly. And they just did a 2-part series on this lady. I just was pulling it up on here. It's Peggy Clinky. And I believe it was like 2000 to like 2003. She dealt with a stalker. And she was in New Mexico. And then she ended up moving to California. And she actually ended up getting killed by the guy. I can't remember his name right now. I think it was Patrick. But she like met this dude. They kind of dated for a little bit, but it wasn't really serious. And then she ended up going home to visit her parents. And he ended up finding out where her mama lived, showing up to the house without her even like giving him permission to show up. And after that, it kind of escalated from there to the point where he, I think, attempted to set her mother's house on fire and then ended up doing something else. Well, she ended up going to the courts. And at that time, they were like, because he wasn't physically beating her, there wasn't anything that they can do about it. Even though he was stalking her and like showing up and harassing her, everything else, they really weren't doing anything. Then they ended up giving her like a restraining order, but they really weren't taking it serious. So she ended up dating this new dude, and then she ended up leaving the state because this man had her address and was like showing up to her house all the time. She ended up moving to California, and he worked his ass off to try and get her address. When she moved, she told all the people that she worked with, like, if this dude named Patrick ever called a job, tell him that you do not know me. If anybody ever comes around asking for me, like, you don't know me at all, like, don't give out my personal information, anything like that. And luckily her coworkers had her back. They did that. So when he did reach out, they didn't give any of her personal information to them, and then they end up telling her like, hey, this dude is like sniffing around. He ended up hiring a private detective
Oh, damn.
to stalk her and find out where she lived. He ended up finding the street, and then he ended up figuring out where she lived. He ended up showing up to her house, and a friend was actually coming to meet her. So he was in her house, hit her in the head with a gun. A friend ended up showing up. They both ended up running out of the house and running to the neighbor's house and ended up calling 911, but he ended up getting in anyway and ended up killing her. And it's like, if they would have did much more over the course of those 3 years, she would still be alive. But it's like, we don't believe women if they don't have like a bunch of physical marks on them and things like that. And then the other thing that I have to say about this is pretty much the same thing that happened to Cassie. The reason why Cassie never came forward and was like, Diddy is beating my ass and doing all this other crazy stuff is exactly what the reason why now, because of how people are treating Halle Bailey. Halle Bailey is not even going to the internet. She didn't go to the internet like DDG did and was like, I can't see my babies, that. She went to the court. She literally went to the court. She had her lawyer go and file shit to do it the right way. And y'all still talking about he a good daddy and all this other bullshit. It's like, we can't fucking win. Like, you literally said it out loud. Like, hey, don't be staying with the dude when he mistreating you. Don't be leaving him and coming back. Like, leave right away. Go, file charges. Why didn't you go to the police right away? This is why the fuck people don't do that shit. Because y'all literally drag their ass on the fucking internet. You cannot win in this world if you are a black woman. You just can't. Yeah. That's why old buddy got chopped up in jail, because y'all fucking dogging out fucking black women.
Yeah.
Yes. He will not be named. But Buddy got chopped up because he did all that shit to Meg, and Karma came around and whooped his ass. But anyways, yeah, so that's my opinion on the DDG and Halle. If he really is a good dad, then he will respect this restraining order. He will do what the fuck he's supposed to do, follow the law, and do what he needs to do. Just like I said before when he was getting on the internet talking about he can't see his baby. Nigga, take it to court.
I think it's just because he couldn't see his baby like when he wanted to
Right.
see his baby, because
Yeah.
I do think he like showed up
unannounced when
to
she
like
was
her
sick
house.
and the baby
Yeah.
was sick. Yeah.
I
tried
can't
to
take
get
my
in.
kid out, which is crazy. It's just like, nah, I want him now. So
Right.
what if he's sick? So what if you sick? I'm gonna
Right.
play downstairs. Like we gonna go play downstairs
In your house.
in your house.
Weird shit.
I mean, about that.
We're gonna play in your house. But apparently he got a key to her house, and he showed up to her house, I guess, when she was out of town, when she was on vacation with her sister. Remember those pictures she was posting of her on vacation? I guess he showed up to her house and like took pictures of her bedroom and was like, "Oh, I know what you own." And then people were like dissecting the pictures from Halo's first, or the videos from Halo's first birthday. Kind of how like anytime Halle would like reach for Halo, like DDG would like move the baby away from her and was like, she'd be like, "Oh, let me hold him," and he would kind of like take the baby and like move the baby away from her. And I was like, "Oh wow." So he seems a little controlling. He seems, I don't know. I dated a narcissist like that before, where it's like they want everybody to think that they're a great parent in public, but in behind the scenes, they controlling and want to, pretty much control everything and make everything about them and about praising them and about making them look good. And he kind of gives me that energy.
But like I said, I will put some of my trauma in there because I've dated the opposite, where it's like they would make up stories, and it's like that never happened. Like you tripping. So I get where you come from. I think that's why we kind of sit on a little bit of the opposite. Like I said, I am more on Halle. Halle.
Like Halle Berry. Halle.
I say Halle. Halle Bailey. That we gonna have to edit that.
That's okay.
I'm more inclined to believe Halle, but I would just want to hear more before I judge on to these other people's lives that ain't got no effect on whether I got to go to work tomorrow and pay these bills.
Yeah, true. But it's just like it's what's in social media right now. That's what everybody's talking about. So that's why I brought it up.
Nah, and I get it because it's for me. It's more people's comments, like you said, like people really out there. He's a good dad. Like I was in the delivery room and I watched I watched you deliver the baby to him. You know what I mean? And it's just like, bro, we have no idea.
Yes, a lot of that I see online. Like she trying to make him out to be a bad dad, and like men can't be good fathers, and blah blah blah. And it's like, but y'all don't know. Literally, she went to court. Obviously, some type of evidence that she presented or her lawyer presented was enough for the lawyer or for the judge to agree with her. So I could see if she went and then the judge was like, "Nah, dismissing everything. Like you're gonna do shared custody, blah blah blah." Then I'd be like, "Okay, then obviously she doesn't have enough evidence to prove that she deserves full custody of the kid." But the judge agreed. So at this moment, until I see otherwise, I'm believing her. Anything else?
Nah, that's all I got. I think we got on that. Let's move on to
nice and simple.
Let's move on to this white people business. All right, y'all. So we about to get into some white people business. This is a very entertaining trial to me. This is we're gonna be talking about actually this is part 2 trial of Karen Reed.
Karen Reed 2.0.
2.0. There we go. So for some of you guys who are unfamiliar with the case, Karen Reed, the white lady from Massachusetts, Canton, Massachusetts. In January of 2022, she was out pretty much with her boyfriend, who was a cop, John O'Keefe. They were out they went to like a bar, and then they got invited to a house party. And pretty much, I think they kind of got into it on the way to the house party. So Karen Reed dropped off John O'Keefe at the party. Then she like went back to his house, and next thing you know, like early in the morning, I want to say like 5 or 6 in the morning on January 29th, she was pretty much going around town asking the people who were at the house party if they had seen John. He never came home, this, that, and the other. And it comes to find out that John O'Keefe is dead, laying on the front lawn of the people who
Brian
Albert, who was the person who was throwing the house party, and he was actually he's also like a former cop. Because believe it or not, the cops come into play in this, and they are a time. So pretty much, pretty much somehow, and this is still kind of confusing to me, is that they are saying that pretty much Karen Reed is being charged with the murder of John O'Keefe. They are saying that she hit him with her car, and she was also like intoxicated. I think they're calling it like driving under influence with like bodily harm, some kind of degree of murder.
It's manslaughter.
Manslaughter. Okay.
Yeah, so manslaughter, and then the other one is
I also say there's 3 charges.
Yeah. Oh no, sorry. 2nd-degree murder, manslaughter by operating the vehicle under the influence of alcohol, and then the last one was leaving the scene of a fatal car crash.
Yeah. And so they're charging her with all of this. However, this is the thing, and honestly, when we get into the details of this case, it'll be like, this case is crazy. But her defense is she is being framed and set up that pretty much John O'Keefe was beat up at the party, attacked by a dog, and then left out on the street because there was also a blizzard that night. So his body was like left in the snow pretty much to die. And so that's pretty much the main gist. Now we'll get into some of the details of it. Sound good, babe?
Yeah. I just have a theory to put out there. So, not saying that this is right, but I was thinking about it earlier when I was like doing a little bit of research for this. I was like, what if they didn't throw his body out there? What if he got into a fight and then they kicked him out. And because he was like so drunk and like so beat up that he just ended up stumbling outside, and maybe he was gonna like sit there until like he sobered up, or maybe he was gonna try and call Karen, but he never got to it. And so he ended up just passing out in the snow and dying there after the altercation inside the house.
See, now I would be inclined to kind of believe that, but I think there was more just because the homeowners, the Alberts, and the police department were so tight, are so
Right, but they would
tight
still
knit.
be responsible for it. If you beat somebody up
Yeah.
and they were so bad that they then you kicked them out of your house and then they ended up dying on your front lawn, I feel like you would still be held responsible for that. So I understand why they're still blaming Karen, but
Right. They're still.
I feel like that would be more plausible to me than them dragging his body outside.
I get. I think.
That's all I'm saying.
No, I get you. Okay, so I actually do kind of agree with you. I don't think they dragged his body outside.
Right.
I do think that he got beat, and yeah, he was trying to. And with his last life, he just made it to the lawn, and then he just stopped and he
Right.
died there.
Yeah.
I 100%
Because I
agree
think
with
the
that.
defense is pretty much saying that they like beat him up and then put his body out there.
Nah, I don't think. Oh, okay. Is it?
That's what I inferred
Okay.
from it.
You know what? That is. I never caught on to like how they think his body got outside. I think
Right.
because one of the big things in the case is the wife of the homeowner, Julie.
Ooh, let me look at my
Is
list.
I was gonna say
Brian,
is the
Nicole Albert,
no, it wasn't her. There had to be no. It's someone with a J.
Jennifer McKay.
Maybe it's Jennifer McKay. Because I would say so I watched the first trial of it, and Jennifer McKay, if this is the right lady, I know her name.
She's the one who got in the car and drove around with Karen. They found.
She was okay, so she's the one. So there's so much stuff to this case. So she's the one. She at like 2 o'clock in the morning. So John's body wasn't found till like 6 a.m. Like 5-6 o'clock in the morning. At like 2 a.m. she had this weird ass Google search where it's like she kind of misspelled, but it was like how long to die in the snow or whatever. Yeah. And that Google search was done at like 2 a.m.
Allegedly. We don't know because
yes,
the defense says it happened at 2 o'clock in the morning. The prosecutors claim that it happened at like 6 o'clock in the morning after they found his body. So we don't really know.
Well, we won't say that, but I would jump out the gate on this because I've been watching some of the trial.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, because the defense showed like forensic evidence that there's a time stamp for 2 o'clock in the morning, but of course the prosecutors are saying that that's inaccurate. So
yeah, but that's the only thing, because I think the first trial they tried to debunk that as well. But it's just like, okay, we have this, we have this body, Karen's like, because I think she was still drunk when she was even still trying to find him, and I think that's one of the prosecution's things towards her. So Jennifer, and she seems like the kind of the ringleader, like, because she was during the initial investigation. This is Jennifer McKay. She seems like the ringleader, like, because she was going around, she was, talking to police officers, going to, she would
sending people gifts and shit.
Yeah, she was sending people gifts. She would go visit them while they're doing their interviews with the police and stuff, or she'd be in the other room, like listening in, and then she would go and talk to other people or the wives of the police officers who were all involved. So to me, it's just like she seems like she has a little more,
because she was the sister and the sister-in-law of the people who were in the house of Brian and Nicole Albert.
Yeah. And so, so I'm not sure why she's like the ringleader, but she seems like the ringleader. And I
think Brian is in there too, right?
What?
Brian Albert.
Yeah,
he's a part because he got.
Well, yeah, he's. So I think he's former police. He's like a former police officer. Like it was his house.
So he's no longer a police officer.
So he may be like retired.
I can't remember.
I was gonna say I think he retired.
Because I know his brother is still a police officer, Kevin, right? Kevin Albert.
I don't know. I don't know about Kevin Albert. Yeah. This is the first time I actually ever heard that name. So Jennifer McCabe seems like the ringleader. It seems like she might be the the planner of the allegedly
Of the
alleged planner of the
the
conspiracy against Karen Reed. Um, who let's just go. You want to just go down the line of people involved in?
I wanted to go down the timeline.
Okay, let's go down the timeline.
Yeah. So pretty much I wanted to talk about like the actual investigation. I mean, we can kind of talk a little bit about it right now. As far as like the new evidence that came out. I know they were talking on the one podcast that you had me listen to about the phone calls that they were making that night.
Oh, the butt dials.
Because the butt dials weren't actually butt dials because they used the timestamps and the timestamps matched up with camera footage.
Yeah, they do camera
for
footage.
trial 2.0 showing that. Who was it?
So it was Brian Higgins. Brian Higgins, who was I think he was, wasn't a police officer, but he was in law enforcement. He was like DEA or something.
And he
like that.
is showing him like somewhere not at his house because he claimed that he was at home having sex with his wife.
So that's Brian Albert.
Okay, so this is who I'm talking about.
Oh, okay. No, you said Brian because there's two Brians. There's Brian Albert and Brian Higgins.
I'm talking about the person who butt dialed.
Okay, well, Brian Albert dialed Brian Higgins that night.
Yes, so you're saying Brian Albert was at home and not. So who was the one who was out on camera?
That was Brian Higgins.
Okay. So then, refresh my memory then. Maybe I'm misunderstanding how this lines up then.
So Brian Albert and Albert and his wife were at the time being intimate. That's what they were. They were being intimate that night, and somehow he butt dialed Brian Higgins.
Yes, I understand that. I'm not asking you that. I'm asking you, what does the cameras have to do with this? I'm asking.
Oh, so the camera is the new footage. So they were saying that at the time of these butt dials, that Brian Higgins was like at home or something. That was his story. He was like.
So he said he was at home, but he really was not.
Or he was going to. No, you know what? He said that he was going to
move cars.
Yeah, move the cars in the police parking lot. But so the new evidence is the video of him, and he's clearly like on the phone. So this butt dial from him moving cars and the thing, which he didn't do. Like they showed the video of him walking through the police headquarters, walking back out, not a car move.
Right. Okay. This makes more sense because I was like, I know I heard them saying something about somebody on the video being on the phone, but I couldn't remember exactly who it was. Okay, that makes more sense then. So that's evidence that Brian Higgins and Brian Albert were talking on the phone, or somebody with Brian Albert's phone was talking to Brian Higgins that night. We don't know whether or not it was the wife or him or somebody else, but his phone was used to make those phone calls.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And so, the most important thing about Brian Higgins is because he was the one who was sending, like, him and Karen were like flirting.
Yes,
texts.
That she had those flirty texts to him when John O'Keefe was still alive.
Yes, and if y'all look it up, them text messages are cringy. It looked like your grandma and granddaddy flirting through text. It's just like it's like your grandma and granddaddy flirting through text, trying to act like kids. Like, oh, y'all are grown. Y'all just do it. Why are y'all doing this?
What were they saying? Did you think of any examples?
It was just like, I wish you would have kissed me. I wish you would have stayed longer. You know what I'm saying? It was just like, what would you do to, what would you do to me type of thing. It was like, I get it, it's flirty, but then when y'all in person, like, y'all, like, I just imagine, I don't know what they were like in person, but from these texts, you could tell, like, I infer that y'all were awkward when y'all were together, so it was very cringe. It was very, very cringe. It was just like
secondhand embarrassment.
Yeah, it was just like I could have gave Brian Higgins some game, bro. He got them draws that night.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
But you don't know that.
Text messages was there.
You think she would have? Did they sleep together?
I don't think they got to that point. They were
that's what I'm saying.
They were awkwardly flirting.
I don't think Karen was really trying to sleep with him. I think she was just looking for some outside attention.
Some attention.
Because the one podcast I listened to, because Crime Weekly did do a breakdown. I can't remember exactly how many parts that they were, but I watched it last year when they came out. Mm-hmm. And they did like a breakdown of like Karen and John's relationship and kind of how she felt like an outsider a lot. Like when they went on vacation, with like a lot of his friends and stuff like that. Like she kind of felt like she was left out, and then she ended up getting into it with him because he was flirting with somebody's sister
Yeah,
or cousin or something like that.
I remember some of that in the first
Um,
trial. Yeah,
yeah, so it's like all of this stuff that they had going on throughout their relationship. It seemed like he wasn't as attentive, or maybe she needed more attention that he could provide at the time. And so she was trying to look for some outside affirmations. I don't think she necessarily wanted to sleep with anybody. I think she just wanted to feel
some attention.
attractive,
Yeah, and the dude was and
giving
Brian
her the
Higgins was giving
attention.
her the attention,
Right.
but it was still it was so weird. Um. Okay, what else? You want to go through the timeline? So,
Yeah. So then she got arrested in February.
mhm,
And then that's when they did like a grand jury on her and presented the evidence, and she ended up setting a date for the trial. And I think it was supposed to be for like sometime in April. Because I know the trials officially started in April of like
2024.
2020.
It was last.
Yeah, it was April 29th of 2024.
Yeah.
Um, and then it ended in a mistrial.
Yes. And actually, I would
I
like to
can't
talk.
remember the exact date that it ended in a mistrial, but I thought it was crazy because they should have polled the jury, which they never did, because they did allegedly. I don't know if it was ever proven. I know a couple of jurors came out and said that they did all unanimously agree that she was not
Yeah.
guilty on two of the charges. I
Yeah.
couldn't
It was
find
the
anywhere that they actually said which of the two charges that it
so
was.
so it was the because they found her guilty of the drinking and driving, but not the
Manslaughter
manslaughter. But those two were like tied
tied
together.
together here.
So it was and like they tried to ask the judge, who the judge in this is question.
Beverly
Yeah,
I cannot say her name.
I don't know. That's I know it's Judge Bath,
Con, 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 I don't know. Beverly Canoni?
maybe Canoni. Yeah, that's
I don't know
boss
how to say
finish.
her last name.
Yeah, but so the jury asked the question because they pretty much were like she didn't kill this person, but she was driving under the influence and stuff like that. But because one of the
They
two
were
were
tied
like tied
together.
together,
The manslaughter with
yeah,
the driving under the
yeah.
influence.
So it ended with the mistrial, and so
I wonder why they couldn't separate the charges.
so I think they might have I don't know, prosecution. They were just trying to get. I feel like they were just trying to get her.
Because they could have charged her with a DUI, and then
Yeah.
they could have charged her with manslaughter with the vehicular homicide. And then they could have charged her with leaving the scene, because she pretty much did. If she did it, she did a hit and run. So they could have hit her with all of those separately.
Yeah, they could have, but
I don't know what the rules are in Massachusetts, honestly. So I guess I can't say that because everybody's charges are different. Like they have different names and titles and stuff.
yeah, yeah, but yeah, I do know like somehow they couldn't separate the charges, so they were split, and so it ended up just being deadlocked in a
So
mistrial.
they found her not guilty unofficially on the second degree murder
Mhm.
and then the manslaughter, but they found her. They thought that she did drive under the
Yeah,
influence. Okay.
so they were
But
like,
did they think she was guilty for leaving the scene of an accident then?
so that's the
Because
that
from
I
what
feel
all
like
the articles that I read pretty much said they found her not guilty on two of the charges, and then they were deadlocked on the third charge. They couldn't
so I think
agree. So then that's when they had to file a mistrial for hung jury.
now I think possibly it was probably leaving the scene of the crime because they don't think that she killed her. Then killed them. Then how can she leave the scene? So it's probably that. But the DUI and the manslaughter, those charges, I think they were like tied together, and so you couldn't separate it, or Judge Bev wouldn't let them separate that.
Yeah.
So, so yeah. So and then like because her attorneys, even after the fact, once they really found out, like once like pretty much a lot of the jurors were like, yeah, we actually was unanimous on the not guilty for manslaughter. They wanted to try to, because they knew that there's going to be a retrial. They wanted to try to pretty much get that charge to go, but unfortunately it's still tied in with the second case again. Well, this part 2 case against her.
Mhm.
So yeah, so now they're here, and the first prosecution attorney lawyer was terrible. He was like boring. He would mumble under his breath. Like they even caught him like on camera saying like, "Why am I here?" Like like y'all, brother, the mic's on. We can hear you.
Yeah, because he got moved to second chair for this time
Yeah,
around,
they brought
right?
in. Yeah, they have a new prosecutor this time who seems to have a little more energy.
Yeah,
But I think his name was Lolly. He was like he
yeah.
like I said that he was boring to listen to, and it was just like yeah. Um. So yeah. So going back. So
Do you want to kind of like compare the two trials that's going on right now, like what they're allowing and what they're not allowing, or do you want to continue along the timeline?
let's just continue on the timeline. I think, and then I can just say the difference.
So pretty much while they were doing like all of the pre-trial stuff, the prosecutors were presenting their evidence, and then the defense team was constantly trying to motion to get the charges dismissed because they pretty much said this is all a setup, it's all a framing. None of this is, the investigation. Everything wasn't done right. Like they just jumped straight to bias, and they like were like, what's the word? When you just focus on one thing.
when you was it the sight thing?
I can't think of the name of it.
Tunnel vision.
Yeah, they had tunnel vision. It was directly on her, and
Yeah.
they didn't investigate anybody else. They didn't have any other suspects, no other alternative theories, anything. It was just from day one, Karen hit him, and that's it. And it's kind of like a good investigator is going to still think outside the box and be like, okay, this may be the most obvious answer, but let's just look at it at a couple different angles just to make sure that we're not leaving anything behind. Because when we go to court, you want an airtight case. You want to be able to say, we did investigate, theories B, C, D, E, F, all the way to Z, and we found out none of them were credible. A has to be the answer. And they didn't do that. And the main investigator was Michael Proctor, and he no longer has a job. He was suspended last year in July, and then I think he got fired in March of this year. I have it on my timeline. Let me look.
Okay, I thought he got fired late last year.
No, yeah, he got fired March of 2025. So he just lost his job like 2 months ago.
And he should have, actually, honestly.
Yeah.
Like he was texting to his like group, his friends on the side about Karen Reed. He was like making he said she ain't got no booty.
Yeah, he said she ain't got no booty. He was talking about her having like bowel issues.
Yeah, she got like IBS
he was
or
talking
something.
about looking for news to her phone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he was like,
they're talking about at least she's hot.
Yeah, he didn't even give her hot though. He was like kind of hot. Like,
yeah.
He was like, she cool. She a 7. And it was like, but he, like you said, they focused straightly on her. They didn't look at anything because some more stuff is like, allegedly John had like bite marks on his body from like a dog bite, stuff like that.
Oh yeah, let's go to the medical examiner's report. So pretty much, I feel like I'm off the thing. I'm trying to get to where it goes. Okay. So the autopsy revealed that he had blunt force trauma and that he died from hypothermia.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So sorry, I'm trying to find that
okay.
word. Yeah. And it said that they estimated that Karen Reed's alcohol blood level was between 0.13 and 0.29 at midnight, even though they didn't get a chance to check her until 6 o'clock in the morning. So I'm assuming it's an estimate. I know on one of the podcasts I was listening to, they were trying to get the footage from the bar because they were trying to verify whether or not what she was actually drinking was like alcohol. They were trying to like see if they could prove what she was drinking was alcohol, because then they can kind of like estimate how many drinks she actually had that night before they left the bar.
So they did find out, because Karen Reed after the first trial, They actually did come with more videos. So she had like, I think it came out to like 6 shots.
Right, but was it proof that it was shots? It was
Yeah.
clear liquor in there. They had a receipt showing that she paid for
Well,
liquor.
no, so people were doing the shot. So people were they were
So they
pouring the
showed
shot.
them
They
pouring. Okay.
poured the shot, and she took like about 6 shots. She was drinking water, and it was spaced out. Dang, I was about to say something before that. But yeah, she also admitted. So after her first trial, she did
The interview.
interview like ABC or 2020 or something like that. And she right now she's her own worst enemy.
Yeah.
Like
I think they just got permission to include some of her stuff in the trial, her own statements against her, and it's like her lawyer should have told her to shut the fuck up and sit in a corner somewhere.
Yeah, because it's the second. Because I think she thought she would be done. Like maybe they won't retry me, and I think maybe she had already had it booked. Like look, once this verdict comes back, I'm gonna give y'all an exclusive interview, and she maybe signed the contract. So then she had to. I think she wanted the fame. But it was just like they are using that video against her, and it's like
what I tell you, babe, when we were talking about A$AP Rocky, what's your job as the defendant? Is to sit there and look like you're paying attention and shut the fuck up, because anything you say can and will be held against you. And that lady did not listen.
No.
She went and she ran her goddamn mouth. You cannot say anything until after you get a not guilty verdict, because then they cannot try you again. There's no such thing as double jeopardy in the United States. So they cannot try you again. So she should have kept her fucking mouth closed, and she probably wouldn't be getting ready to go to jail for a little bit for some type of, because as of right now, a lot of people keep saying like, how else do you prove how he died if you don't say that he got hit by this car?
Well, that's the thing. Even with his body, it's not from the medical examiner. His body is not. It's not consistent with being hit by a car.
So the video that I watched, the medical examiner was talking about his lower body and not necessarily talking about the upper body, because she pretty much was saying like when they look at the body for car accidents, they look at it for going forward, not necessarily for a car backing up into somebody. So that was the thing. It's like, did she examine the body based on the fact that the car backed into him, not that the car drove into him?
Yeah, because I think they're saying that she backed into him and hit him.
Right.
Which was, if you watch the first one, the dude was like, there was a cop who was not qualified to do
accident reconstruction.
Yeah, accident reconstruction, because he was like the car hit him, he did a pirouette and fell to the ground, and it was just like,
sir.
And they were like, oh, what's your background? And he was like, I took a couple classes, like I got a paper. Like, oh, you didn't go to school? No, this was something I was doing on the side. And then they was asking him like, basic like science questions, and he was like,
couldn't answer.
Yeah, he's like, I don't.
What was he like? He didn't know what like.
I don't know.
What was it, like physics questions, right? Like inertia and shit like that, like gravity. Do you know what gravity is?
And it was just like, bruh, they set you up to fail, my guy. But this is the Canton PD. Like, they are all terrible. Like, I hope they're truly. I think I read something that they're being like investigated by the FBI, and I hope that they.
Yeah, they're under FBI investigation. But the new dude who's in charge, who said that he was like right alongside Michael Proctor. I can't say his last name is like Ben.
I mean,
it started with a B. I know that it's like Ben.
Oh, Berkowitz?
Yeah. No.
I was gonna say, I think that was the chief at the time, because he's dead. He died.
He died, from cancer. No, not him. It's a different one. It's
I was gonna say, I can't.
I think I just found it. But Kinnick.
Damn it! I was watching his, because he just testified like earlier.
Yeah, he just testified. So he was
terrible too.
He was the one who was pretty much saying like he thought that Michael Proctor was professional and did a good job, and then when they were like, what do you think about these text messages, he was like, it was really unprofessional. And it's like, he was so was he professional or was he unprofessional? He was
sticking by his report, even though he's answering the questions like, yeah, that was very unprofessional, that is not what you should do. Michael Proctor is a good person who exemplifies this. This is also Michael Proctor too on this text, right? Yeah, that's not professional. Like, bro, what are you doing?
Like, just say what you feel. Just be like, no, he didn't do a good job. And that's no longer why he's with the Canton Police Department or whatever he was with. Was he a state police officer or
I want to say they were state.
Yeah. So I'm like, he's no longer a state police officer. He's fired for a reason. We thought he was very unprofessional. I was there by his side the whole investigation. I can verify that I checked over the stuff and it was done right and leave it at that.
But that's the thing.
He was also on the text messages too, wasn't he?
Was he?
The other dude. He was a part of that text thread.
The Buckinick dude?
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe. I don't know.
Buckinick. That's his name.
Okay. I don't know. I just know that like he got up there and he was trying his best not to tell the truth because he wouldn't even admit that Michael Proctor was like that they call him a lead detective. He was like, oh no, he was just the officer on the scene or something like, you know what I'm saying? He would, let me find another way to say this so I don't use lead detective.
Yeah.
And it's just like, this was signed off by, like all the evidence signed off by Michael Proctor. And he wasn't the lead detective. No, he was just, you know, taking a lot of authority over the case, you know, like, bro. So it's just like they're being shady.
He was just in charge at the time.
Yeah, it's just like no, he was the lead detective. He tunnel vision on Gary Reed didn't
and just did bad. I mean, come on now, we all watch a little Law and Order, a little all kinds of crime shows to know the way you investigated that scene was terrible. Well, you stopping at a neighbor's house to ask to get fucking
red cups,
red solo cups, and like
and plastic and brown plastic,
paper bags,
Yeah.
It's like I watched The Rookie. I'm on season 4 of that show. I know you're supposed to have your gloves on. You're supposed to take pictures of the scene first, and then you go and start tagging the evidence.
And that was the thing. So actually going back a little bit. So at the crime scene, it was just John's body. Then like it was like 2 weeks later where they started finding like pieces of her tail light, which is like 2 weeks later. And like now, and like I said, they never, like after that day, they opened it back up so people could walk in, by, or whatever. And so 2 weeks later is when and like one officer was like, yeah, I just happened to be driving by and I found this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you saw a piece of tail light in the grass 2
while
weeks
you were
later. Right.
Like, are you paying attention to the road?
Yeah. So like the police in this are really sketchy. There's a video when they impounded Ken Reed's car. And the way they presented it was like inverted and flipped. So it was like, so it looked like, so if I was on the back left of the car, it made it look like I would be on the right. But then when the defense came up, because they never said anything, when the prosecutor brought it up, they never said anything about the video being inverted. So then when so the defense brought it up.
It was Yannetti or Jackson, which one?
Jackson. It was Jackson who was questioning the cop. I just can't think if it was Buchanan or Proctor who he was talking to. But it was like the day before they showed the security footage of Karen's car being brought to the I think they call it a Sally port, which is where they were going to review the car. And you see somebody around. It looks like somebody gets out the passenger side of the car and goes around to the back to the left tail light or something. So they just bring that up and they're saying, hey, yeah, we're looking at the car, whatever. The next day, the defense starts questioning about the video, and they say like, well, and you see this person get out the car, right? And it's like, what side are they getting on? He's like, well, so this is where, like I said, Buchanan or Proctor was like, I think it was Buchanan actually. He was like, well, it looks like the passenger's car, but this video is also inverted. So he's trying to like, I know y'all about to ask me about this. Let me go ahead and get this out so ain't no surprise thing.
Yeah.
So, so get out the car. So now it looks like, and so actually Proctor was in the video. Yeah, okay, that's why. Proctor was in the video. So he gets out the driver's side actually, and he goes around to the right passenger tail light, and he's there for like a second. which is why the conspiracy is that they think that he broke the tail light and then sprinkled the
The
pieces.
hair, because right,
Oh,
it's
his
like
place.
hair that
There
they
was
found on there
there was a
too.
hair on there, and then like they think that that's where he broke the tail light and sprinkled it on, which I imagine that he sprinkled it like this.
Because my thing is like when you're investigating the scene the day of, wouldn't y'all have like collected some of the snow and like checked the area to make sure that there was nothing, like there was no evidence on the ground? Like you would have searched that area thoroughly to make sure you got all the evidence. So I just feel like that's dumb.
And I think they were using the snow as like that's why they couldn't find pieces of the tail light, which is like
Because we've never shoveled snow
right.
before. I've watched Bones, and Bones would be like, take all the mud out of here, lift it all up and put it in a container and take it to the lab because we got to check it all. Like I watch these shows, and I know that it's not real life, but you should have took us like dug all the snow up around his body. I would want to take all of it.
No, no. Like I said, the police they are shady and they are clearly like I'm not. My opinion, I think that they are hiding something. What it is, I don't know, but I think that Karen Reed being this outsider, they are really trying to just get this on her instead of this Albert family, which I don't know what these Alberts have on them.
Because what was it? The Alberts, the McCabe's, was that it? The whole family?
There's another one. There's another family.
And they pretty much like all got together, kept getting together, like you said, like throughout the time when they were investigating. They got rid of phones and shit. They were like meeting up together, talking on the phone like 15 times a day and shit like that, like doing all kinds of weird stuff to get their stories together before they went to meet with Michael Proctor to do their interviews.
Yeah, because I think even Jim McCabe on her recent thing was like, I guess she never brought up that she like called and talked to like her sister that morning privately, which that just got brought out. That was like a new piece of evidence. I'm not really sure what the significance of her calling the sister is. I didn't get to see that part, but I know that it was something that didn't get brought up the first time.
Yeah, because I'm trying to find a part where the prosecutors say that they're making up this whole story.
The prosecutor is saying that the defense is making up this story?
Yeah, and then I was like, this made me laugh because it's like, it's very.
I don't know.
Hold on, let me go back.
So
for our source right now, we are using CBSNews.com. They have a timeline for the Karen Reed trial, starting from the very beginning, the day that John O'Keefe's body was found, all the way up until May 17th of 2025. So, yeah, because it says Jennifer McCabe, Brian Albert's sister-in-law and friend of O'Keefe, was distraught and she ended up taken. She got arrested.
Wait, well, no, because they were.
Hold on, I'm trying to.
Because I know, I think those three were driving around looking for John, and then that Karen.
No. This isn't the part I'm looking for. I'm reading out loud to figure out where I am.
Oh, okay. Because you're looking for
this part where they.
Well, while she's looking for that, just tell.
Okay, here it goes. Sorry.
Okay.
So it says, Morrissey. Is that one of the prosecutors?
That could be.
It says Norfolk County District Attorney Michael Morrissey. So he made this statement where it says conspiracy theories are not evidence. Morrissey said the idea that multiple police departments, EMTs, fire personnel, the medical examiner, and the prosecuting agency are joined in and taken in by a vast conspiracy should be seen for what it is, completely contrary to the evidence and a desperate attempt to reassign guilt. But it's like, and why was everybody getting together to get their stories?
Now, I will say that
if you're telling me that the police departments, the EMTs, the fire personnel, the medical examiner, the prosecutors aren't all in on this big conspiracy, then why were the police department letting the witnesses know when they were going to be interviewed and what kind of evidence they were going to be collecting, and why were the EMTs and the fire personnel told one story when they found the body, and then when they were called in for the grand jury, they told a completely different story. It's like somebody along the way got a script. So there could be a big conspiracy.
And that's the thing. So I will say, to that point, initially that was my thing. Like, it would be so hard to get that many people.
Not in a small town, and I lived in a small town.
And I'm with it. I do know it is a small town, and the McCabe's or the Alberts are connected. I'm not saying, but it's still to get all those type of people to do that, and not have one one person be like an outlier. It was like not really tight with the family, somebody who just moved into town,
But they didn't
happened to be an EMT.
They didn't pick those people to testify though.
I get on that.
Everybody, remember during the trial, most of these people were somehow connected to the Alberts family.
I think a lot of people were, because I even remember the one of the EMTs was like, she went to school with one of the kids of the Alberts, and then she was like, "Oh yeah, we're not really that close."
Yeah, I want to say it was like Allie McCabe or something like that.
Yeah, and it was like, it did the defense. Like, this is why
I put out pictures from like her fucking baby shower or some shit.
This y'all at the beach? This y'all at the baby shower?
Right. Like, this was you like 4 months ago.
This was last summer, right? Like, but y'all not close.
Right.
No, no, they were just friends. What about this one? Where's just y'all two?
Right. And that's why I said that whole statement where it's like, it's so unfathomable that they can get all these people to work together, and it's like, it's really not.
No, that's why I was like, this case is so entertaining, and it's like, honestly, to me, my opinion, it just seems so obvious that something else is happening here, but they really have to treat this like if I'm on the jury of this, day one, I got my verdict. You know what I mean?
Before I wouldn't have made it to the jury pool, because I would have been like, she's not guilty, and they'd be like, you can go home.
You can go. We would like to cross off juror 1682.
Right. How do you feel though about Beverly being able to, or Judge Beverly Canoni being able to preside over this case for a second time?
So,
do you think Karen should have gotten a new judge?
I do think she should have got a new judge, and because like something seems off about the judge in this, like some of the stuff that she is letting go. Like, I would say she still hits the prosecution and the defense somewhat fairly, but I do think she's leaning more
towards the prosecution
side. Yeah, just like, you can't do that. Like, you can't you can't let the prosecution get away with this, and then not let the defense do the same thing. Like, so I do think there's a little bias on her end, and I think I think it just might be a pride thing with her, like, where she's like all these people, all these people are doubting me. I'm gonna do this, and it's just like, girl, no, just give it to somebody else.
And I mean, it wasn't like didn't they say something about her having like a house, like a beach house or something like that, and that they visited her beach house?
The judge? Like, the Alberts were?
Like the Alberts or somebody that was in one of the some of the witnesses like had vacation, like they knew where she lived, like they knew where her house was.
Oh no.
I think that was in the first trial. Like I think it was one of the Karen's lawyers that were saying like, I don't know where the judge lives. Like, why do y'all know where she lives? Okay. Let me look it up to be sure.
I would say that's new information for me. I never, like, I can 100. I can get that 100%, but I will say that's very new information for me. But it does make sense as to why she would want to stay on this case. It's literally like the TV show The Judge, where he was clearly compromised. So it's just like, yeah, no, this person did it. For whatever reason, you're about to find them innocent. Like, there's no way that you could make this happen.
Yeah, so it was the summer house. So it says, yes, the location of Judge Beverly Canoni's summer house has been a point of discussion in the Karen Reed trial, as she rented it out to one of the witnesses, a couple named Nagel.
Oh.
So Naggles claimed that she didn't spell Beverly's name correctly, which sparked discussion about how many Beverly and Franks there were in her summer home, where her summer home is.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah. Nah, that's new information for me.
I want to know who the witnesses were.
That's a nigga. Is there a Julie Nagel? I feel like there's a Julie in there somewhere.
Yeah, just like that. Yeah,
Uh,
Julie Nagel.
and I think she was and I think in the first house, she's kind of the one who,
Was she the other person in the car?
I think, was she
Because
also?
because the thing that I'm reading now says Jennifer McCabe and Karen Reed and the third woman were in the car when they when they found
It could
his
have been, she
body.
could have been driving.
You think?
Because I think there was one woman in the first trial that didn't that you could see she kind of didn't stick to the script of the story that they were all
So
telling.
she was the one who said she saw a black blob on the ground by the flagpole.
And is that when Karen got out the car and ran to it? It was like it was John.
No, this is when she was leaving the Alberts house. So she
Oh,
was leaving the Alberts
okay,
house that night, and she said on her way out that she saw like a
okay,
a black blob on the ground.
okay.
Um,
So yeah, and that could have been the part where they were like, she didn't stick to the script of they didn't see anything.
yeah. So she had been using the judge's summer house to vacation, like renting it out. So that's another reason why she should have recused herself. She should have like
Well,
stepped away.
if it's something like that, but mm,
Yeah, because I feel like that's a conflict of interest.
but is that a big
If
conflict of
you know,
interest?
so would you want the judge? If you're on trial for murder, and the judge is buddy buddy with one of the witnesses that's testifying.
Because it could be like a third party reach. It could be like an Airbnb type situation.
Well, I don't know about that situation. I guess I don't have enough detail for that, but I still feel like I wouldn't want you being in my house. I wouldn't want you being in the judge's
Yeah.
house, and then now you on the stand testifying against me. You can be like telling her after after y'all leave today, like, oh, I really love the way you keep your garden, or your linens were so soft at your summer house. Like, like you got personal information about her now. Like that shouldn't be the case.
Mm.
I don't want you to know any personal details about my judge if you are testifying against me in a trial. This should be a stranger to you.
I guess but it's a small town. And she's connected with the Alberts, who's connected to law enforcement. So, what else? I do want to get into a little more on Brian Higgins.
Okay.
Because he
Go ahead.
was.
I don't really know too much about him, so I'm gonna leave this up to you.
That's okay.
Where does he fall into that? Do you know? It's like during the trial, so I can kind of figure out.
So he comes in during the trial. So like I said, so he is. Are you able to see if like what law enforcement he's with? I want to say it's like DEA or something.
Let me see. I'm trying to see. I'm trying to see what. Okay. Brian Higgins completed his testimony. Other witnesses. So let's see. So he must be here. So he is a Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosive Agent.
What is that? ATF. Okay,
Yeah,
he's an
he's
ATF.
an ATF agent.
There we go. Sorry, that was gonna kill me too. Because I know he wasn't like a cop or anything, but I didn't know what department. So he's part of ATF. All right. So where he comes in is sometimes he has an office located in the Canton Police Department. And so on
I remember that now.
Yeah. So on this random night of January, he randomly goes there to move cars for the blizzard. Which we went over this earlier. And he also happened before that point was texting was already him and Karen Reed because they like seen each other.
But they weren't texting at night, were they?
No.
Okay.
So actually, I think they were texting like up till like the day before that night, and then she kind of like ghosted him, and then it was like a week after that night. He was like you should see him reaching out to her.
Oh, after John died.
I can't say if it was after John died. Uh,
Well, it
it
would
was
have to be if it was a week after that.
yeah, I know he texted her after he died, but I think she ghosted him like before, like maybe her and John were back on good terms, so she kind of stopped talking to him, and he was kind of ghosted. Um, but they were talking to that point, like you said. I do believe that. Actually, I think you said it perfectly that she was looking for some attention, pretty much, and he was giving it to her. But the sketchy stuff about him was, like I said, he said he was moving cars, and man went to that police station to talk on the phone, and then he left. Not his car moved. He-
Right.
and then another thing was when they went to go talk to him, he had disposed of his phone.
Was
Like,
he the one who took it to a
yeah,
military base and disposed
yeah,
it?
so
Okay.
he went out his way. He's like, I threw this part here, that part there, but I did extract, and I gave, like, he pretty much gave them the extracts of his phone. But it's like, bro, you could have pulled whatever you wanted to, because like some of those text messages that were in Karen's phone weren't in
Weren't
his
in
phone.
his.
You know what I'm saying? He's like,
Yeah.
yeah, I disposed them, like you said. He took the garbage all the way to a military base. Like, you
Where
didn't.
they can't search
Yeah.
because it's
Oh, is that why?
yeah,
Okay.
they can't search the military base. That's why he did it.
Okay, that's smart, because I was just thinking like, look, if I like it's me, if I just drove to the city to throw away my phone there, I just be like, oh yeah, I threw it away and somewhere
Well, I was
else.
trying to figure out why he did it too, but it's because they don't have
Okay.
access authority there.
Okay, nah, that's very smart then. But it was like even that was kind of sketchy, and like I said, and even so he was doing that. Even and I'm kind of got to go back into beginning. Because even he was like, when he was reading those text messages, he was like, these aren't flirty. And it's like, they literally were like, you were looking good tonight when I saw you. He's like, nah, that's not flirty. That's just professional.
That was
That
professional.
was,
He
like,
said,
I ain't gonna say professional, but he was like, oh, this, it's just
just a
friendly.
compliment.
It's
Just
like, yeah,
being friendly.
I wish you would have kissed me. Yeah, you just being friendly. Like,
Because we just make out with anybody.
exactly. Like, somebody text you that. Boy,
Or not even that. Would you text your male friend that? You know what I mean?
nah.
Would Buchanan have text Brian Higgins and been like, "Oh, I wish I would have kissed you last night."
I wish
Like,
you would stay longer. I wish I would have kissed you. Like, yeah.
right.
So so it was like that. So and so like I said, I don't know what more he has to do with it, other than I know they were possibly one of the things that were coming out online is that they were like Higgins was jealous of O'Keefe, John O'Keefe.
So they said the defense attorney said that Higgins is one of the three men that they claim was responsible for killing O'Keefe that night. So they think that
Okay.
Higgins and Brian and John got into it because he probably found out that he was flirting with Karen behind his back. Because they all were drinking. Everybody was drunk as a skunk, and driving around drunk.
Yes.
That's why when it's like they charging Karen with driving intoxicated, it's like, but all of you niggas got left the bar intoxicated and drove all around. Because Brian Higgins was drunk that night when he went to the police department, right?
Yeah. Well, he was. Well, yeah, he was coming back from. Like, I don't know if he had left earlier. I don't know when he said he left the party or whatever. But yeah, they were all at this place called the Waterfall drinking. Then they got invited back to the Albert's house to drink some more. So it's just like everybody was drunk driving that night. So y'all need more tickets.
Yeah, exactly. People need to be charged. If we're gonna go back and charge Karen for driving intoxicated, then all of them also need to be arrested for driving intoxicated that night.
Yeah. So, and like I said, this is, like I said, I think for me, the reason that I love this case so much is it's white people. It's not, somebody who look like me. It's
white people and cops. White cops doing dirty shit
against other white people is crazy. But that just lets you know, like, if you on the outside, you on the outside. Mm-hmm. For them, it's just we just be on the outside. We. Yeah. All right. Who else?
So let's see. We got Brian Higgins. Let's see. Then they talked about tail light pieces. Then they had videos of Reed drinking a bunch of drinks that night. Mm-hmm.
When she, like I said, at first she had it good the first time. They were like, oh, she was saying she was drinking water, and you couldn't tell if it was vodka or water that she was drinking. But
Yeah.
then she gave her interview, was like, oh yeah, I was drinking vodka.
hmm
Like, come on, girl.
I wanted to talk about the Alberts selling their house and getting rid of their
And getting that
dog.
dog, yeah.
But
Sorry, y'all. Sorry, y'all.
what happened?
I dropped my mic. Apologies, y'all.
But I can't find out where that is here.
Um,
Let me go back to the beginning of the testimony.
well,
Paramedics.
well, they did sell the house between when the first trial started and when John dying. They sold their house and they got rid of. I think their dog's name was Chloe.
Yeah, because they ended up selling the house. They ended up getting rid of rehoming the dog allegedly. Because we never found the dog, right?
Nah, they said it. I think they. Yeah. Because no, there was really just testimony that just happened, but they were like they didn't look more into the dog's like papers to see like what her new name is and what her new owners are. I'd have to go back.
The dog could be dead for all we know. Anyways, allegedly, we don't know. But there was no in 2022 where everybody has. I mean, I have a Ring doorbell camera. My parents have one for their front and a back door. A lot of people I know have camera systems set up, but supposedly nobody had any type of cameras running that night either. So not the Alberts, not nobody in the neighborhood, not a single person had a Ring doorbell camera or what else? Who else got cameras? Google camera. Like nobody had any type of security system with a camera. And it's weird because they're police officers. So it's like you would think of if anybody in the neighborhood got a security system, it would be the cops.
I'm sure they had like ADT or
yeah, that usually comes with like a front door camera and like a back door camera or like a security camera.
They probably had the old school ADT. They're just
I don't think so.
If you walk into the house, well, nah, because they left their door unlocked. So it's also a police house. They left their door unlocked because they was like, when the police was there, somebody just walked into their house and it was just like, hey, what's going on, y'all?
Oh, really?
Yeah, and the Albertsons were, and Brian was a former police officer, so it's just like you can just walk into his house.
Yeah, that's weird. But yeah, I just thought it was weird. Like nobody on that block had any cameras. There was no video footage of Karen like driving in, John getting out the car, John getting hit by the car, John going in the house, John falling in the snow. Nothing. There was no evidence. Then I think there was somebody who was the one who was testifying. They had the snowplow. Because it was somebody who had a snowplow, and they were saying that they saw Karen Reed and John in the car, or at least they saw her SUV. Then they saw her SUV like back up down the street or something like that. And then somebody was saying that they saw a car parked outside, and then some people were saying they didn't see one parked outside. Mm-hmm. And I want to say it was the Julie girl, Nagel, who looked out the window and said that she saw the blob. But I don't know if she said that she saw the SUV or not. That was the thing. It was like a bunch of confusing testimony. I can't remember the exact details now. Believe it or not, it's been a year, like almost a year since the court case. So I think it ended.
It was right around this time.
It was like June. Mm-hmm. I think that they did the mistrial in June of 2024. So yeah, it's been a while since the last case.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see if there's any new evidence in the storyline.
I was like, there's a new guy. Now there has been some shadiness on the defensive side too.
Like what?
So they had these two witnesses from like the FBI forensics team who they were like pretty much. So they came in and they were like they conducted a study, and the study was consistent with Reed's defense that there's no way that if the speed that Karen would have been going to hit John, that he would have died, his body wouldn't have landed like this or whatever. And these are supposed to be like, they were supposed to be with two witnesses that actually reached out to the defense. As part of like,
Wait,
hey,
to the defense team, to the prosecutors, or did they reach out to
they
from the
just
prosecutors and they had to reach out to the defense
no, they
team?
reached out to the defense because I think they were from another law
Oh, they
enforcement
were
agency.
independent.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, there we go. That's a better word. Independent agency was doing something, was looking into the investigation. But then it turns out that when
They weren't independent.
yeah, so it
They
turns out
secretly
that it's
always
like
worked for the defense.
they got like, yeah, so there was an invoice from the defense, or from them to the defense, saying, "Oh, y'all owe us $10,000 or something like that
For this
Yeah,
recreation.
and so like, so that came up, and like the judge was like, well, we asked them if if they had, like, I had never met them because they were on the phone. He was like, and I never received payment because they didn't charge us yet. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
technically, I'm not lying, but but y'all came in to help me. So that was like one of the things that was one of the shady things that the defense was doing, which is just like, you gotta play dirty.
So I didn't get to see any of this trial, but apparently John O'Keefe's mom took the
Yeah.
stand and testified. Do you know anything about her statements?
So it was just, how John was a good guy. He was, he
So she's
took
kind
care
of
of
like a character witness.
character
Okay.
witness. Like she didn't get cross-examined or anything. The defense lawyer just, like, after her testimony, he just sat up and said, "I'm sorry for your loss," and they just moved on.
Oh, okay. So we didn't talk about the text messages or the voicemail that Karen left John the night that he died.
Oh, she
So
was
pretty
going
much
crazy.
she was like going off on him, saying like she was gonna leave the kids at the house and go back home. She
Yeah.
hated him. He was out cheating on her. Like, it was kind of like crazy.
Yeah, she was a little crazy now.
But she was probably drunk and they had gotten into it, right?
Yeah, because they were not on good terms.
Yeah. So it's probably one of those things where it's like you drunk, you just texting and saying shit. And I guess she called him a bunch of times too that night, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he never answered his phone.
He wasn't answering, but he also could have been dead.
Yeah, right. Well, that's what the prosecutors were saying. Like, she was trying to, like, kind of
cover it up, like
to give herself an alibi, like trying to call him and make it seem like, oh, I thought he was out partying and really I killed him and then left him there and then went home to call him to make it look like I didn't know where he was.
Yeah, because they were using like cell towers to like try to like triangulate, dictionary word, y'all. Triangulate is a big word for me.
Yeah.
To to do that, and so I guess, but it was like she was going home though. Like, clearly it was like after they literally were like, she just dropped him off at this party and went to his house or whatever.
Yeah, she sounded like she was just a hot mess that day because I think she like woke her the niece up, right, and was like crying to her, saying that her uncle didn't come home, and then the niece was the one who ended up calling Jennifer McCabe and saying like Karen couldn't find John, and Karen in the background screaming and crying like a crazy person. So she sounded like she was a hot mess. Like, she don't need to drink ever again in her life.
Oh no!
If it was the liquor to blame.
No, but that's the thing. They all was drinking. Like, none of them need to drink no more because dead bodies seem to show up on like a dead body on your lawn the night of drinking. Like, nah, I'm cool. This was like a graduate. I think it was like, I initially think the party was like a graduation, like one of the kids, because that was a thing too.
Yeah, because they said that what was it, Colin Albert?
Yeah.
That they originally said got into a fight with John because they had altercations before, but this second child, the judge pretty much said that they cannot
use him.
They can't include him in the theory of John dying.
But the first child, it was such a good period because even the way he said that, like, they had this picture, like, first of all, yeah, and he said it's the way he landed, like, it was like he slipped and fell and he landed like with a fist, which is like, if you slipping and falling, chances are your hands are open. He said he landed like with his fist.
Yeah.
Like, bruh, that don't make no sense. And then, like, another thing too is like, he was like, I'm this Colin Albert was like, I'm like pretty chill and laid back, and then they once again, I love the defense and
Show a
in
video.
his Snapchat, he's like, I'm gonna fuck you up. Threatening like this other school team. They had like 2 videos, and then he was like, pat, pat. It was like some white dudes being gangster, and I love it. Pat, pat. Like, what does pat, pat mean? He was like, or what did he say? I'm gonna F you up. Like, who are you gonna F up? And actually say the word that you said in the video. Like, I'm gonna fuck you. It was like, I love the defense. They was ready, boy.
Yeah.
Mm.
But no, I kind of felt bad, and it's basically because of the podcast I listen to. It's kind of like because he's a kid,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like they're kind of ruining his life if he did not have anything to do with John O'Keefe's death. To be accused at the age of 18, 19 years old that you killed somebody, and that's gonna follow you now for the rest of your life if you
But
didn't have anything to
I
do
was
with
gonna
it
say,
because of your asshole parents.
but if he did, and this is why, this is where, like I said, I know it's conspiracy and it goes a little
Right.
crazy, but this is where the conspiracy could work because
His parents are trying to cover up for him. No, I
if he's
get that.
18, he has the rest of his life. Like, let's get rid of this chick that we don't know and protect our son.
Right, I totally get that, but I'm saying like if he didn't have anything to do with it, and
Is what I'm
then they
saying.
threw him under the bus anyway to try and like have him as a scapegoat, like to give, because all the defense needs to do is give reasonable doubt.
Yeah,
It's on the burden is on the state to prove without a doubt that she did it. The defense is just there to cloud that evidence and be like, well, the evidence may say this, but this also could have happened. And that leaves room for doubt, which means you cannot prosecute my client. You can't find them guilty.
right.
And so if they throw all of these other extra names in there and say they could have did it or this person could have did it, I just feel bad if he didn't have anything to do with it because he's young. But if he did it, then
That's what I'm saying. It's like if he
he belongs
didn't,
in
then it's wrong.
jail.
But if he did, it's like you gotta.
And somebody else was involved in some type of incident, right? I feel like somebody had a history of violence too.
Oh,
I can't remember who it was. I want to say it was Brian Albert who had like a history of like he had got into a car accident or killed somebody or something.
Oh, I don't know about that. I know, like I said, Brian Albert was the connected one. Like he was cool with like the mayor and people in like I said, in any kind of office. He was cool with them and donated to them and all stuff like that. As far as somebody, you know, yeah, nah. As far as somebody, um, who, uh, maybe getting away with murder or being part of a hit and run, other than Caitlyn Jenner. Uh, um, yeah, I don't know.
Let me look.
Oh no, what did you search?
I'm looking at Brian Albert car crash.
Maybe it wasn't him.
Maybe it wasn't him.
I don't remember hearing if anybody else had a violent history. But yeah, overall, like I said, the police in this were terrible. They had a dude who had pretty much 2 classes doing forensic training. The lead investigator pretty much was like, Karen Reed did this. I'm not going to investigate anything or anyone else. ATF agent was like, I'm about to flirt with this girl like a child, but I'm also grown.
What? What are we talking about?
I'm just recapping some of the characters. Brian Higgins. Brian Higgins. You had Brian Albert, who was getting it in with his wife, and butt dialed a whole grown man who butt dialed him back, and they were having a conversation. Julie Howard searching Jennifer McCabe, writing how allegedly texting House Long to die in code before somebody died in the code. It's just a lot happening in this case. Even though, like I said, Karen Reed ain't the most innocent person, I don't my opinion, I don't think she actually did anything. Anything else you want to add there?
I'm just looking through to see if there's anything. I know they had some medical examiners go up. But I think we're pretty much caught up for now. They're still taking witness testimonies. They had John O'Keefe's niece come up. They had some of the EMTs come up and re-testify. They had Buchanan come up and testify. They had Jim McCabe come up and testify again. So they're working their way through the list of people, and then her team's going through and cross-examining them. So I guess we'll just continue to watch. Instead.
And why don't y'all leave y'all thoughts about this case? Leave a comment or something. Let us know what you got. Is there something that we missed, or is there something that we messed up? Let us know. Hashtag free Karen Reed.
She not locked up.
All right. Well, I could say the other name that got Chris Brown locked up, but
I don't know you're talking.
It's all right. It's all right.
I was like, was he locked up?
Yeah, he's still locked up. Still court date, which is in like June.
I missed that.
You didn't see that?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Chris Brown?
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about.
I told you about this.
No.
Okay, we'll talk about more off camera. We ain't got to get into it on here.
Okay.
All right, got anything else you want to add?
No.
All right, let's move on to what we got going on next. So we'd like to welcome y'all to Jasmine's sports section. As you know, she's a huge NBA fan, and all the teams are finally set for the Western Conference and Eastern Conference finals to lead to the actual NBA finals. So I just want to know, how do you feel about the 4 teams that are left, babe?
I don't know the 4 teams that are left. I know that somebody from New York beat the Celtics, so they're in the top 4.
Mm-hmm. And Indiana
Pacers.
Yeah, the New York versus
Oh,
Indiana.
so New York what?
The New York. Oh, you don't know? You said the team. There you go. Yeah.
Okay, New York Nets are playing Indiana Pacers.
It's actually the Knicks.
Knicks.
It's
Okay.
Brooklyn Nets.
Okay. So why do you keep telling me yes and then you're saying
Because I like to give you a hard time with sports because I know you don't know a lot about sports. But you are the greatest at knowing sports. And then you have.
So New York Knicks versus the Indiana Pacers. I put my money on the Knicks.
Yeah, they're gonna be.
Yeah, they're gonna be the Indiana Pacers. Only because don't that girl Caitlin play for Indiana Fever?
What does that have to do with the NBA?
Because I don't want Indiana to win because Caitlin was being mean to Angel Reese. So
now that men team,
so the Indiana Pacers need to lose. So Knicks, yay, let's go. Okay. And then is the Mavericks, Dallas Mavericks still in, or did they kick out? They out. Been out. You said Golden State lost. Who did they lose against?
So you have.
Oh, you told me OKC, right?
Yeah, OKC won today. Yep, and Minnesota.
Minnesota Vikings.
No, you right now. Vikings.
Minnesota Timberwolves.
Yeah,
I know. That's
the team that they got. Ant Edwards, who's supposed to be like the next Jordan.
I don't know who.
No, use the dude.
But Minnesota versus Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Okay. And what's Oklahoma team called again? The Thunder.
There you go.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna pick the Thunder. Okay. Oklahoma versus the Knicks for the NBA championship.
And who you got taking it off?
I'm gonna go West Coast this year. So we're gonna go with the Thunder winning the championship.
Okay. Now
those are my predictions.
Okay. All right. And is there any?
Now I have a question. So do they have to pay 4 games for the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference?
Yeah. So
or up to 7 games?
Yeah, it's up to 7. So it's the best of 7. So it's the first 2 4.
Okay.
So it can be 3-3.
And then whoever wins that 7th one wins. So it's whoever wins 4 games.
Yeah, that's
then they get it. Okay. Mm-hmm. It just seems so long. The playoffs just seems so drug out.
So it actually starts off pretty quick, but then once the fewer teams that get more rest in between, so you'll get before they're playing every other day, but now probably play like every 2 days. So they do kind of drag it out a little bit. And then like when you switch cities, they give you like an extra day of rest. So
Yeah. I remember when I used to watch Faithfully every year, I used to always think it was rigged because they would never do it in 4 games.
mm-mm.
Like they would always have like one team, like maybe they'll lose one, then they win like two, and then they'll lose the next one.
Yeah.
And it'd be like, y'all just dragging this out for ticket sales.
But to have that as a young thought, I just thought it was just like one thing I heard my uncle heard was like when the Bulls were winning was like they need to lose this game so they can go win at home. You know what I'm saying? So I thought, oh, teams do that. Like they'll just drop the game so they can win the championship. So I thought that's what they were doing.
I mean, it could be that, but I just felt like they already sold 7 games worth of tickets, so they just gonna try and get it as close to 7 games as possible without it looking too scripted. So
I guess you've been now it's like all about injuries, which is why I want to go. How do you feel about the Jason Tatum injury?
So he was the one that was on the Celtics, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I read the headline. I don't really know what happened to him. He looks old to me, but you told me he's not old.
He's like
So
26.
okay.
He's like 27, 28. I
And
think
you
he's in the
said
league.
that's LMA, baby daddy.
That's the baby daddy of LMA.
Okay. So yeah, so I thought he was old. He looked old, but maybe he's obviously not old. He just has an old looking face.
You got old face.
Yeah. So I'm not old like 50s, but he looked like he was like in his 30s. That's what I thought.
I'm gonna have to see the picture.
Maybe I gotta pull up a picture of
yeah,
him because the picture I saw, I think it was on Shade Room, and it showed that he tore like his ACL or something like that.
Yeah,
but it
he
don't
did.
matter because the Celtics lost anyway. So
Well, he kind of part of the reason he's like one of their best players, top 2 players on the team.
okay, let me see.
Just look up Jason Tatum.
No, I want to see the Shade Room.
It was like days ago, girl. You know how far you gonna have to scroll.
Oh, okay. Let me just search.
And it's
Is it JAY?
Yeah.
See, there's no picture. Is that it?
Yeah, he look old.
Yeah, he like he in his 30s.
That look old.
I'm trying to find the one from the Shade Room.
You know, they mainly post about him in LMA.
That's the I could read. All right. Change the Shade Room. I don't know. I can't find it now. But he didn't look that young.
It's just crazy.
He kind of looked like, how old is Khloe Kardashian baby daddy Tristan?
He like older than me. I feel like
That's what I thought for Jason Tatum.
really.
I thought he was like around like like he was like older.
Nah, actually, look. Can you look at how old is he? I actually make me curious now.
Jason Tatum.
Yeah.
He's 27. He just turned 27 in March.
Yeah.
Well, he just got like a 30-something-year-old face. He could be like 33, 34.
Maybe. All right.
I don't know. He like he was closer to my age than farther away from my age.
Maybe it's the facial hair or something. Who knows?
Oh, maybe he just stressed. Maybe the new baby LMA stressing him out.
Mm-mm.
And now he got a torn ACL. So, now he really got to be at home with the baby and her.
They saying like his might be like because it takes like about a year to recover from that, so he probably won't play till next year's playoffs.
Yeah, so he gonna be 29 then.
Yeah, but all right. And that with that we will wrap it up on Jasmine's Sports Corner.
Okay, let's end this week's episode with a pop-up question for you, babe. So, in light of our nuptials, what if we went to, you don't like that word, nuptials?
No. I wasn't expecting that word. Nuptials. Okay. That's a funny word.
So in light of that, what if when we went to go apply for our marriage license, they denied us because you found out I was married, but I never told you that I was still legally married to somebody.
So how would I feel? Is that the question?
Yeah, so it's August. We on our way to go apply for our marriage license, and we get there and we fill out information, and they're like, "No, she's legally married to somebody else." But I, one, never told you I was legally married at all. Like, I've always told you I've never been married before. And then two, to find out on top of it, I'm still legally married to somebody. And this is a month out before our wedding.
I would feel away because it's just like, why wouldn't you tell me that? You know, it's like it wouldn't even like even if you were like, oh, I'm still married, getting divorced. It's like, all right, cool, because especially because like, all right, the amount of time we spend together, like you'd have to be. Well, I guess you technically could.
What?
You could be out there with your husband on some other time.
Well, what if it was just like an estranged person? Like, what if I got married at like
Yeah.
19 and then we separated?
Yeah,
they went they on, I haven't seen this person in,
in 10 years.
15 years.
15, okay. Yeah, it would just be like, why wouldn't you just tell me that, like, technically I'm still married, so I got some work to do. Other than that, I mean, it'd be fine.
So we would still be able to get married? We just have to postpone
yeah,
it?
you gotta go take care of some paperwork. Well, yeah, we can still get married.
What if I couldn't find the person I needed to get divorced and I had to wait like more than a year?
Then we can wait.
So you would still be okay?
Yeah. Like I said, the biggest thing that hurt me is just like, why did you feel the need you couldn't tell me that, you still married and you can't find your ex-husband, or, or you couldn't find your ex or something like that?
What if I said I forgot?
That's wild. Like you forgot you were married? Now that would make me like, oh shit, so is you just gonna forget about me if this start going bad? Like, well, hey, that'd be now that's a little telling. If that's the best you can do, I would like just go with the like, yeah, you know what? We split. She moved out of state.
What if it was like I went to Vegas and got drunk and got married, and then we thought we annulled it, but I'm like still legally married to him?
That'd be cool. I would get that.
Because I got the idea from Bones, the TV show. Because when Angela and what can I think of his name? The rich dude. I think it's Hodgins. I can't think of his first name. Yeah. So when Angela and Hodgins, they were getting ready to get married, they ended up finding out that she was legally married to this other dude, and then they had to find him, but she couldn't remember his name or what he looked like or anything. So then it was like several episodes of them like trying to like hypnotize her so she could remember what the dude's name was.
So was it a drunk night in Vegas or something?
No, she was on vacation and she met a dude, and then she like fell in love and married him, but she didn't think it was legal because they were like out of the country and like on a boat or some shit when it happened.
That's like I can't do it. You remember that one therapist show we was watching, and the dude was like, I didn't really cheat on you because I was in another country, so that doesn't count. Like,
yeah. So it was something like that, and then she ended up finding him and then ended up getting a divorce from him, I think, or he ended up passing away or something. I can't remember the exact details, but she ended up getting it and also were able to get married.
So what would your reaction be if you found out I was married?
So it depends on how long ago it was. Like if it was something you did in like your early 20s, and then you just because like, okay, putting somebody's business out there. So I have a friend who lives with and has 2 children by a man who is still legally married to his ex-wife. He has a kid with her. And as far as I know, at least the last time I checked, I mean, they could have gotten divorced by now, but last time I checked, when they were still together, like in their relationship in the beginning, he was still legally married to his ex-wife, and they had no intentions of filing for a divorce. And I remember at one point he was talking about wanting to marry my friend, and my friend was like, you're still married to your wife. Like, you can't even think about getting down on one knee and proposing to me because you still got a whole wife.
He can propose. It's just he got to take care of the other thing, can he?
No. There's no way that if I knew you were legally married to somebody that you could ever get down on one knee and propose to me.
Why?
Get down on one knee and find you a lawyer, nigga. No. File for divorce.
So
serve your ex-wife with these divorce papers. Get down on one knee and find you a
propose the divorce
proposal. Yeah. And type it up. Type in divorce attorney. That's what you need to be doing. You need to be researching divorce attorneys, not engagement rings.
What if I can do both though? Like,
no, I would need you to legally divorce this person before you even think about proposing.
Even asking you.
Before you propose.
So if I have,
now we're already engaged. I didn't know that you were married. We go to the place to file for our marriage license, and then all of a sudden it's like you're legally married. And you need to find this person and get a divorce. You have 12 calendar months.
Oh, I have a year.
You have 12 calendar months to get a divorce.
Okay. Even if I can, if I can't find the person,
you have 12 calendar months to find her and get a divorce.
So month 12, I find them month 12,
and you're filing the paperwork to get a divorce. And yeah, we're good.
Okay.
Because all I'm doing is I'm pushing my wedding date out a year. So instead of 2025, it's 2026. That day comes. You either meet me at the altar or you meet me at the moving truck. One or the other. You know, we booking our hotel or we calling Enterprise so you can get your U-Haul.
Okay. But that's okay. That's even more. I would be like, all right, what can we do? Like, because do you know how long? Say that they're estranged. How long would they have to be estranged before it can be considered like a null?
I don't know because I don't know the rules in the state of Illinois. I know sometimes like somebody has to be dead for like 7 years or missing for 7 years in order for you to like declare them dead or something like that.
Missing
and then after that you can annul a marriage or like declare like a divorce and you can get married again. But I don't know when somebody's alive and they're missing. I think you just have to hire like a private detective to go and find your person and serve them with papers. Because I did find that out. Like, you can't serve the person with papers.
What do you mean?
Like, you're not supposed to serve
you
your
personally can't serve?
You have to have somebody else do it. And I was like, I didn't know that. At least I learned that watching The Rookie the other day. I don't know if that's the California state rule.
Yeah, it might be California because I feel like some places they can't.
Because I thought you could just show up one day and be like, I want a divorce, sign here on the dotted line, and then be done with it.
You can't do that. I feel like you can't do that, but I think it might be state specific.
State rules. Okay. It could have been a California rule, but I saw that in a TV show, and I was like, oh, I'm like, if I wanted to get a divorce, I gotta pay somebody to deliver the shit. Well, I have to ask like my friend, be like, hey, can you run up on them and serve me these papers real quick?
Because I feel like it can
buy you dinner.
Because I feel like it can be amicable. So it's like, why do you need this third party? Like, if anything, let's go to the notary and sign it in front of a notary. Have it over with.
That's just what I saw. It's TV again, so who knows? But yeah. Now that was my question, my pop-up question for you. I thought it was interesting with everything going on. Yeah. All right, babe. You want to wrap up the episode?
Yeah, but before I do, you got any other final thoughts of any other topics?
Nope. It's 10:30 at night. I'm ready to go to bed. So let's wrap it up.
All right. Well, with that, we would like to thank y'all for joining us. Please make sure that you follow us on Instagram and TikTok. Instagram, the We're Just Saying Podcast. TikTok, the We're Just Saying Pod. Please watch us on YouTube. Please listen to us on Spotify. Like us, leave comments. We will
share with your friends.
Share with your friends. We're gonna get better at promoting this show. We're gonna get some clips out. We're gonna be doing some extra stuff. So please stay tuned and keep watching. And until next time, thank you for watching. Bye.
We're just saying.